Hi, I'm Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday. I'm here today introducing you to another incredible leader, thinker, doer, and all-around amazing human who's going to help each of us think about our world a little bit differently than anyone else. From artists to teachers, from actors to moms, from the big names to the you didn't know about them till now names, my hope is that you will connect with a leader who helps you light up in your corner of this galaxy. This is the Thought Leader Thursday show. Hi, I'm Suzanne Castle. Welcome back to another episode of the Thought Leader Thursday. I can't wait for you to meet this dynamic woman who is here all the way from the West Coast, virtually, of course, because, you know, it's still COVID world, and I am delighted to welcome her. But first, we've got to throw it over to the producer. Oh, Andrew. I want to know what comes up for you when I say the word woo.
What comes up for me when you say the word woo?
That's right.
In my head, it's like a self-pump, a self-motivator, like a let's get going, let's get ready, kind of just excitement word. I don't know. That's my thought.
I think that's great. And the reason I'm asking about that, I want all of you to center in for just a minute what kind of emotional attachment you have to the word woo. If you follow me at all, you know I use woohoo all the time, but there are some people that say woo as like the freaky deaky witchy what. And then some people use the woo as the space that we occupy when we are internally in dialogue with ourselves and aligned. And all of those things will come into power today when you meet the amazing Heather Morrison. Heather, I'm so glad that you're here. Let me tell you a little bit about this fellow redhead who has my heart. Heather is a mindset mentor and confidence crusader. I mean, we could just stop right there, right? What a fabulous title that is. And she has a company called Boldbeyonbelief. She teaches entrepreneurs to amplify their value and their voice and action, so they show up boldly and unapologetically in their biz world. And people who benefit from working with Heather and alongside Heather find themselves overserving, undercharging. Is that you? If so, listen up. And they deal with imposter syndrome a lot of times, lots of confidence issues. They might be struggling to establish boundaries in business. And usually if you don't have good business boundaries, you don't have good life boundaries either, right? And so the harmony that they are feeling is almost non-existent because of those two factors. Entrepreneurs need to stop tying their internal worth to their external validation. And Heather is on a mission to start making choices based on confidence and not fear for every single person that comes towards her, for helping people realize their value doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with how much money they make or how many times they say yes to everyone else's agenda. That's what she does. So Heather provides the mindset and the mechanics, and here it is. This is where the woo meets the work. Welcome, Heather. I'm so glad that you're here inside the studio.
Thank you so much for having me. What a fantastic introduction. Thank you.
I would love to just make that my job. I want to just follow people around and be like their hype person, right? It's very much internally aligned with who I am. And I want everyone to just really meet and center into this incredible work that you're doing. But before you jump in and just drop these knowledge bombs on us today, I want to tell everybody how we met, because I was sitting in a hotel ballroom, conference room, ucky space, that you have to go to for meetings. And it was a meeting where we were both going to be there. I had not met you yet. And we were brought together by a business coach who was talking about speaking and how speaking can really value up your business. You walk into the room, you sit kind of across and catty corner to me a little bit. And I knew instantly by the energy that you projected that we were going to be fast friends, because the twinkle in your eyes literally lit up my heart. And the rest is story, because for the last several years, we've been kind of intersecting in each other's spaces. And I know that you have helped me several times. I've called on you to help me get clarity, to figure out where I'm misstepping and to have confidence in my own decisions, which is why I could not wait for my audience to hear from you. So thank you. So I want you, if you would, for just a minute, take these listeners on a journey, because the way that you kind of formed Boldbeyonbelief is very unique, and you have a great story of inspiration. So would you take a few moments and share that with us?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. And I feel the same about you, Miss Suzanne. You were just such a light in everyone's life that you come into. And so I'm really very fortunate, feel very fortunate that you and I can continue this friendship and pop into each other's lives all the time. So thank you. Boldbeyonbelief was started because I had left a corporate position. I had been in corporate for about 15 years, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I thought, easy peasy, right? Everyone leaves corporate running and screaming. I'll never go back to that again. It's a horrible environment. But what I noticed was all of a sudden when corporate was gone, my life felt like a snow globe. Like every day when I'd walk into my office, it felt like literally like a snow globe. Like I didn't know where to start. And I realized that all of my systems and my structures were gone, right? And then, there's no marketing department, there's no sales department, there's no HR department. And all of a sudden the product that I was sharing with people was me. And that brought my level of vulnerability to it just skyrocketed. I had never felt that before. And what I noticed was the more people that I started talking to, I started noticing a pattern with this, right? Where we don't have hours, we don't establish our set hours, especially when you work from home like everybody in the world is doing right now. It's easy not to set hours. It's easy to be open for business all the time, right? So I started noticing all these patterns, and I wanted to help other people break those as well. So one of the things I noticed was this all had to do with boundaries and not having any. And so that has to do with self-worth and value. So I decided, okay, this is way bigger than I thought it was initially. And that's where Boldbeyonbelief really started taking shape, is that's why I talk about value. And that's why I talk about vision. And that's why I talk about voice, right? Is because all of those things, the value, the voice, and the vision, all come into play when we're talking about things like over serving and undercharging and not establishing boundaries and having that dreaded imposter syndrome that everyone talks about. And it doesn't matter where you're at in business. You could be an emerging entrepreneur or an established entrepreneur. You're still going to have those. It's a new level, new devil. Right. So that's kind of where I started with my company. Of course, like most entrepreneurial adventures, it's morphed over time. And so it's changed a little bit from what it looked like in the beginning. But that's really how it started. It was the fire that I had walked through. And now I was turning around and noticing all these other people coming up behind me. And it was an effort and a need to help them as well.
I think that you said that very well, because it doesn't matter where you are on the food chain in the entrepreneurial journey. If you're just starting out, I mean, everything freaks you out. And then if you're established for a while, there's always a different level that you haven't reached yet that you think you're supposed to be at, or you're at a networking event and you talk to somebody and you're like, wow, what have I been doing with my life, when they like start in on all their accolades. And I usually am like, oh God, and I think that is some of the magic that you unleash in people, is that you're like, okay, you're going to confidently be where you are in this moment. And how can we clarify the next step that you need to take and stay motivated in that space? And you are genius when it comes to process and when it comes to systems and really digging through the muck that we all have up here, because we all have it. I mean, we all have the cotton field in our head that's keeping us, not thinking as clearly as we should. And you really have a unique way to laser focus into all that and go, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? And you're so gentle in your speech that it doesn't feel like you're getting your butt kicked along the way. But that is exactly what you do as someone who has had their butt kicked by you in the past. And I know that when you're trying to help kind of pull focus for people and let them see the next place to be, that sometimes we can get stuck from, oh, this is what I have to do and this is what I really want to do. So I'm curious about what the wants to do are in your world right now. I know that you are working on several different projects, but what is your passion project right now? Talk to us about that.
Thanks. So for 2022, I am on a confidence crusade, right? This goes back to my job title. That's what I want to do. I want to allow people to show up in their business on their terms, right? And without apology. I find this so much as an entrepreneur. We ask permission from the universe to show up how we really want to show up. What are we doing? Right? We don't need to ask permission from anybody as to how we want to show up. We just need to show up. But that is a crisis right now. And so that's what my confidence crusade is. Clients who want, I had a client, I'll give you a little story. I had a client who wanted to incorporate spirituality in her business. And she hid that for a long time. And it was something we just stumbled on when we were talking in her discovery session. And I really encouraged her to do that. She said, I've worked with 6 other coaches, and you're the first coach that's encouraged me to do that. And I thought, how tragic is that?
Yeah.
And I talked to a lot of people like that. Well, I don't think I'm afraid of how it will be taken. Or I'm afraid of what? Afraid of who, right? Here's the thing. If you don't want to ever be criticized, don't ever do anything. Because it doesn't matter what you do in your business or what you do in your personal life, somebody somewhere is always going to have something to say about it, right? You hit social media and that's amplified. So that's my passion project this year, is to really go on this confidence crusade, excuse me, and bring people along with me to let them know that they don't have to A, ask for permission, and B, apologize for anything. They don't have to apologize for who they are and how they want to show up in the world.
I think that's really dynamic. And I can't tell you how many people need a cheerleader like Heather alongside them for the journey, because it is so easy, I think, to feel alone and feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to. And we all have shiny object syndrome, where this new tool or this new coaching program or this person now advocates for this. So we dump everything, and to our own detriment. Because I think internally we all know, and I prefer to work with people who really want to do the deep dive work internally, and then see how that needs to be showing up in their biz, just like you talked about with your client just now. Is you don't want to hide parts of you, as hard as it is. Just like me with sparkling. Like at some point I just like, you know what? I'm just going to live into it because people talk about it all the time. So let's just own it and use it and let it be part of how I do joy in the world. And I think that's some of your genius. And I call you a holistic coach, meaning where the woo meets the work, right? So that internal woo-woo work that people can't always quantify, right? Whether it's mindset or feeling-based intuition style leadership, alongside process systems and theories that let us get to that ultimate business goal. So when you think about woo meaning, meeting the work, how would you differentiate yourself in the space, in what you're offering and how you're working?
Mm-hmm. So this is what I mean when I say that the woo meets the work, right? It's the mindset, but it's also the mechanics. And so growing up, I was told by somebody that she thought I was really practical. And that to me at the time was an insult, right? There's nothing sexy about practical, but I realized that is really a bonus to what I do, because I have been to a lot of coaches where they talk about the manifestation and they talk about the visualization. And we've all been to those conferences where there's a soundtrack and there's people and there's lights and there's a big stage and you're getting so excited and potential. And then you get home on a Monday and it's just you and the computer monitor and those notes that you took at the conference, and you think, okay, now what, right? There's no soundtrack, there's no stage, those people are gone. And so I realized that was what was missing in a lot of people's approaches, is that we had this big, there wasn't a problem in building people up, and there wasn't a problem with the woo, there was a problem with the work. And so I really wanted to find people and be that person for other people that actually sat down and told you the practical, okay, let's tell you what that looks like in your business on a Tuesday afternoon at 3:00. What are the actions you're going to need to take in your business? And that's the practical side of me, right? And so it goes back to what you were saying with the sparkle, like, don't hide it. I think that what you have as a natural gift is what you should get paid the most for.
Well, gosh, isn't that great? I mean, if I could just, like I said, be a hype person that sparkles behind people all day long, I mean, let the money rain down on me right now. That would be amazing. But that, I think that is exactly what you do. And I would love for people to connect with you. I know routinely you're doing free training and you're featuring amazing practitioners and trainers, and you just gift that out. And so if I was going to send people your way, where would you want me to send them?
So I have a website, boldbeyonbelief.net, and you can find me under the same moniker, Boldbeyonbelief, on Instagram, on Facebook. One of the things that I do is the last Wednesday, with the exception of this month because it's the holiday season, but the last Wednesday of every month I do a master class, and it's free of charge. And I love for people to connect, because that way they get a little taste of what I'm doing, but they also walk away with some practical things to implement right away, right? They don't have to pay for a course, and they don't have to go to coaching with me. I just like to gift people that. And so again, that happens the last Wednesday of every month, and they can find all that information on my social media and also on my webpage as well.
Yeah, and we're going to drop those links in right now. So take a look at the show notes or look in the lower thirds right now, and you can find all the ways. And that is one of the reasons that I think that you definitely stand out in the marketplace, Heather, because a lot of people aren't doing that routine. I'm giving you, come towards me, look at what I'm doing. You're going to get practical tips, and you don't have to get on a call with me. You don't have to pay me any money, but here it is. And hopefully it blesses you and helps you. And I think that is an amazing gift that you give to the world. And I want to say thank you for that. But before I let you go, because this is like my favorite part of the show, is asking everyone that comes into the studio what their definition is of what it means to sparkle. I know you have an amazing answer. Heather, what does it mean to sparkle?
Well, I think it's being present, right? You can show up, and as long as you're present, you don't have to have makeup on, you don't have to have fake fur on, you don't have to have the baubles. As long as you show up and you're present with the person, right? They say that that's the definition of being charismatic, is how many questions you ask about the other person. So I think it's whatever you're doing, that you show up with passion and that you show up with purpose and that you act like you actually want to be there, as opposed to, kind of dialing out and glossing over. So yeah, I would just say it would be showing up with purpose and with intent, and make that other person feel like they're the only one in the room.
What an amazing definition. And I know that you definitely embody that in the way that you show up in all the spaces. I really want to say thank you for making time for the show and for me and for all the people that come alongside you. Heather, you really are truly wonderful. Where the woo meets the work, Heather Morrison, you got to keep following her and checking her out. All right, everybody, I'm Suzanne. This is the Thought Leader Thursday. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Take care.